Ladies and gentlemen, we have a brand new face-to-face with the developer. So today we're going to go over everything to see what might be coming soon to Rise of Kingdoms. But first, what's going on, guys? Cheers. And of course, shout out to Panda Knight for letting me know in Discord that this did just drop. It's not like I was sleeping 30 minutes ago. And of course, if you guys appreciate breaking news, drop a quick thumbs up. All right, let's jump right into this here. It says, hello everyone, welcome to another face-to-face with the developers. In this face-to-face with the developers, we'll be looking at some of the most hotly discussed items in the community. Thank you to everyone who reached out to us. We hope we'll be able to answer your most burning questions. So this is literally, if you guys have never seen a video like this before, the developers of Rise of Kingdoms literally just answer some of the questions that the community has been having over the last like 4 to 6 weeks or something like that. It seems like they do this about once a month or something like that on average. So let's jump right in here. Okay, question 1, how long will it be before auto peacekeeping and auto help go live, and will these features be usable immediately? So auto peacekeeping is basically just where you're going to be able to kill barbarians automatically without actually having to going and doing it manually. We covered this a few weeks ago on the channel, and they said auto peacekeeping, auto help, and auto chat translation will be added as extra perks for purchasing the 30-day gem supply. We plan on pioneer testing these features in select kingdoms after the 1.0.98 update. So these features that they have already teased coming to the game, it looks like they're going to be locked behind a paywall of the 30-day gem supply. So the 30-day gem supply, of course, as most of you already know, but that's over here in the supply depot. It is $10 US and it lasts for, of course, 30 days. So what they're saying is not only are you going to be able to get 650 gems every single day, but spending the $10 here is also going to unlock auto barbs, auto helps, auto translation. Now I'm not sure why they would add this to the 30-day gem supply and not just put it in the game for everybody, because I mean, truthfully, these features are in other games that are competing with Rise of Kingdoms and they're available for all players. So it seems bizarre to me that this is something that's being kind of locked behind a paywall when, I mean, these are like quality of life enhancements, right? So it seems bizarre to lock a quality of life enhancement behind a paywall. In other words, free-to-play players have a worse quality of life than spending players. And I know what you're thinking, right? Like, of course the spending players already have a better quality of life here, but I don't know, this is just like game mechanics or game features. It's very bizarre that they would put this behind the $10 30-day gem supply. Of course, let me and them know in the comments what you feel about that. Question 2, I'd like the ranking system in Eve of the Crusade to be changed from kingdom rankings to camp rankings. That way our camp can fight for first place together rather than competing with each other. Answer, we will be testing out using camp rankings for Eve of the Crusade in a future update. Okay, that's pretty cool. I feel like why even stop there, right? Like, I think a lot of achievements in KVK should be camp wide rather than just for a single alliance, right? And I know that, like, you know, if you're an alliance that does all the work, you might feel like you're justified to those rewards and your allies might not be. But I mean, like, look, if everyone got the rewards, then it's like you're helping your allies without actually hurting yourself, right? Like you would have got them either way. So I think that's pretty cool. I like that. I like this. Let's see how that actually goes when they implement it. Question 3, since we have conversion stones for converting armaments, I'd also like some sort of conversion system or event for equipment. I've seen this question or this suggestion a ton. Okay, that would allow players to try out different gameplay styles, like switching from archer main to infantry main. Answer, well, this is a longer one here. Okay, the reason we added conversion stones for armaments is that there are constantly new formations and armaments being added, and we wanted to reduce the cost for players to try these new formations. At present, we have no new equipment planned except for accessories, and an equipment conversion system might reduce the value of accounts with multiple equipment sets for different unit types. Considering that equipment has been a primary development direction for players and that it has been online for so long, it serves as an important marker of account value. As such, we're not planning on launching an equipment conversion system for the time being. So a couple of big things here. So first of all, I've been telling you guys that they have already confirmed new formations like in the game. I mean, you don't even need me to tell you that. They said that. I'm just the person reminding everybody, right? So we will likely see, obviously we don't know the actual timeline. I think initially the suspected timeline was that we would see a new formation by the end of this year. I don't know if that's still going to be a thing. Again, don't quote me on that. I feel like they've already mentioned that, but they could change their mind and do whatever they want, right? So just wanted to remind you guys of that. So yes, we are still going to be getting new formations confirmed, also new accessories confirmed. By the way, they said we have no new equipment planned except for accessories and equipment conversion system. Yeah, so we are definitely getting more accessories coming to the game, which is not that surprising, right? Like we most recently, like the most recent piece of equipment that we got was the brand new accessories in the form of the hero's hilt and the saddle of 1,000 blessings. This is smite damage, this is combo damage. I wouldn't be surprised if we got a yet another skill damage themed accessory, even though of course we already have Pennant of the Eternal Night. That didn't stop them from adding, like, the saddle is smite, I guess. Yeah, I guess Greatest Glory is not smite, it's technically normal damage, so yeah, there's no duplicates there, that's fair. But I don't know, with Emperor Qin being the most recent super powerful commander in the game and he's skill damage, can you imagine if they added another skill damage accessory? Like, that would be wild. But yeah, this is a suggestion that I've seen lots of people come up with. I personally just don't think, like, I understand why people want this, right? Like, they want to, you know, right now infantry and archers are really strong, cavalry are also really strong, but I feel like they're just like they're a hair beneath, just because, like, Emperor Qin is just insane, Bai Chi Liu Che is insane. I don't know if we have any March 4 cavalry that's on that same level, right? At least not yet, right? Who knows with the next calves. But I think the reason people want this is because, you know, they might be an infantry main one day and then they look and say, oh wow, like the grass is greener on the archer side, I want to be an archer main now, and they want to switch over to that, right? And so I understand why people want that, but like at the end of the day, like this does not seem like a logical solution to the problem of needing more equipment faster, right? Or needing equipment of other troop types faster. I think, you know, there's other ways, if that is a problem, right? If the developers identify that as a problem, which it looks like they don't, right? And honestly, I'm not sure I identify that as a problem either. I think, you know, equipment as a system has been in the game for so long, and it's been pretty clear the progression path for your equipment throughout since day one. So I don't know if I necessarily agree that we need a way to get more equipment faster, right? But even if I did, and a swap system is not the strategy that I would go ahead and take, because also, like, man, converting and swapping and all this other stuff, like all these different mechanics and gimmicks and events, like it adds up and it gets confusing for new players too. So yeah, I think if there is one thing that might be worth swapping, maybe if you limited it to just accessories, right? Because they've already admitted that this is the thing that they're going to add. Maybe an accessory swap one-time thing would be interesting, but like really there's not enough accessories in the game that are like so broken that you would like, oh, I need to swap this for that other thing. It's like there's really only a handful of accessories that are even like kind of usable anyway, right? And I know that some people have made mistakes on accessories, or they've crafted things in the past, and honestly same, right? Like I have the dagger, I have Mora's web. These are things that, you know, the dagger was fantastic back when it came out. Mora's web was never really that good. I don't know why I crafted it, to be honest with you, but anyway, the point is, I think that the better solution would be to give players like a one-time 100% refund, right? Like they're so close, that their latest update is so close. Oh, ooh, what am I doing here? The latest dismantle update is like so close to being what most players want, right? It's still a 50% equipment refund if it's not talented or anything like that, right? So it's like right there, it's so close. So what if they just give you like a one time, if you mess up a piece and you craft a piece that you don't want, you can refund it for a 100% thing, right? Like I feel like that would appease a lot of players, because I feel like, you know, I think it's not that everybody wants to be able to swap all their equipment around all the time, right? I think that'd be nice, but I don't know if that's necessarily the case. I think what most players feel is that they have like that one piece, or there's these two pieces, right? And they just regret those one or two pieces, and if they could just swap those or get a full refund for those, then they would feel good about it, right? And then from there they can proceed, and they know what they're doing, they're not going to make more mistakes or whatever the case might be, right? I feel like that would be the correct solution, where it doesn't allow you to just infinitely swap or refund or whatever and do whatever you want. At the same time, it would like give you a one-off little out, right? I think that's the cool part about the commander swap event, is that, you know, if you made a mistake in the early game and you like maxed out I don't know, like Mehmed, right? Which, you know, don't get me wrong, is a strong commander, but like that's not where you should be spending your universal legendary commander sculptures. Maybe in the early game he's okay, but once you get to Season of Conquest, you'll have much rather have had, you know, Seong-Gye or something like that, right? So it kind of lets you fix that mistake and swap out that commander, or if you've been pumping sculptures into something even worse like Julius Caesar or something, right? So that's where that event is cool. And in the same vein as that, maybe giving players a one-time 100% refund on a legendary piece, maybe then we'll stop seeing questions like this, and we'll stop seeing these weird like roundabout answers. Anyway, I'm rambling. Let's move on to the next question. We're trying out the accelerated kvk season, but entering the Lost Kingdom immediately after the announcement is too fast. We need more time for kingdom management like diplomacy and battle preparations. Thank you for your feedback. The accelerated kvk season is currently being pioneer tested and will be incorporating player feedback before the official launch. The adjustments we're planning include reserving more time for diplomacy and somewhat relaxing the immigration schedule. So okay, they already know that this is an issue, and also they kind of reiterated that like, hey, you're pioneer testing, right? Like this is what you signed up for, is pioneer testing, so you're literally the guinea pigs, right? But all in all, this is good, right? Like they have acknowledged this is an issue, and so when it does come into the full, like when they actually implement it into every kvk, it should be a little bit more relaxed, and so that's a good thing. Question 5, I don't like the current tug of war style of combat. It requires too much micromanagement and isn't enjoyable, especially on mobile. I hope to see improvements or a return to the old system, which was less cumbersome. Answer: we've been focusing on improving this issue recently. On the gameplay side of things, we've been addressing the issue by introducing new commander mechanics, revamping crystal tech and past glory buffs, adjusting how rage works, and doing everything we can to reduce the burden of combat. On the control side of things, we've been gradually refining mobile controls. We'll be continuing to make combat smoother and smarter with things like attack march and other control options. Okay, so I'm actually not even sure what they're referring to. What do they mean by tug of war combat? I don't even know. Maybe I'm crazy, or maybe this is a phrase that's used in like a bunch of kingdoms and I'm just not in those kingdoms, so I never see this. But tug of war style of combat, I've never seen that in a comment on my videos. I've never seen anyone refer to that. So are they referring to like the push and pull of the murder ball, right? I'm really kind of confused here, because like that's been how the game is played forever, right? Return to the old system. What? I'm very confused here. Maybe like it's just too early, like I just woke up and I'm not thinking right, but like I have no clue what they're talking about here. But I do agree that there is a lot of micromanaging in the combat of Rise of Kingdoms, and I also think that that is partially why everyone plays in dot mode, right? Like it's just obviously some people play because it lessens the burden on their device, right? So if you have like an older phone or an older tablet or something like that, or an older computer, it's not as overwhelmed because there's not as many graphics on the screen, you know, things like that. So I know that that's a primary use of dot mode, but also it gives you more micromanagement of exactly where your marches are and exactly who you're hitting, and it's just such an advantage that you basically have to play with dot mode, right? And I know whenever I say that, there's always someone in the comments like, oh, I play without dot mode and I do just fine. And it's like, if you did play with dot mode, you'd be doing way better, trust me. Or at least if you know how to use it. I don't know, if you don't have to use dot mode, that's fine. That's, I mean, honestly, that's impressive. That's great, right? But also attack march getting smarter would be really good. I think the problem with attack march is that because the open field changes so quickly, it's hard for the game to like immediately adjust its calculations to like, oh, there's another target closer to me, oh, there's a new target closer to me. Like every half a second there might be a new target that's closer and more optimal to be hitting. And I think that's why, you know, unless the attack march algorithm on the back end, I'm not a developer, I have no idea what I'm talking about, right? But like, let's assume that it's some sort of like algorithm that determines what march it should be hitting, right? Unless that algorithm is updating every like half a second, then at some point the logic is not going to make sense, and you're going to find your Nevsky halfway through their murder ball, right? And that's just how that works. If the logic here could be perfect and it could just always perfectly attack the closest march and never overextend even a little bit into the enemy territory, that would be great, right? But like, I just can't, how could it possibly be that good, right? It would have to refresh like so rapidly that I don't know like how the servers would be on fire if everyone was doing that, right? Or at least that's my assumption. If anyone is a game developer and they know for sure that they could make attack march better, maybe there's a way, I don't know. But also I think they make a good point here with crystal tech, past glory buffs, and everything like that. Like they are kind of slowing down almost the combat, which I think is really good. I think the combat has gotten way too fast, and that has been a problem since probably the beginning of last year, like the beginning of 2024, like, or even I would say since Liu Che came into the game. I would say that combat has just been way too quick, like things just pop way too fast, and he's been in the game for a while, right? He's a Gen 8 commander, right? So I think he came around the fall of 2023 actually, around the 5-year anniversary of Rise of Kingdoms. So it's been a while, and I feel like gameplay, you know, the combat has been way too quick. Maybe that's what they're referring to, but tug of war, I'm not really sure what this terminology is. I'm not sure what they're actually referring to. Like, what's the old system that they're referring to? I have no idea. You guys can let me know in the comments if I'm missing something obvious here. Question 6, I'd like to be able to block or hide unnecessary user interface buttons in PC version. Buttons that are already bound to hotkeys don't need to be displayed at present. When an enemy approaches, it's easy to click buttons by accident instead of doing what you want to do. Answer, we're currently planning to improve the way troop interaction buttons are displayed on PC and prevent misclicks and blocking of your line of sight. That's fantastic. I personally have never really had an issue with this, but also at the same time, like, I think there is something to be said about accidentally clicking this chat box, right? Especially over here where you see where it kind of like fades. So like this, the style of the box is where it kind of like fades a little bit over in this corner here, and so you can click this corner and still end up in the chat box, even though right here it doesn't look like there's part of it. So you might be clicking to fight an enemy right here, and you click it and the chat box opens, right? Also, apparently it's Panda's birthday. Happy birthday. So things like that, you know, like if I could just all of this right here, all of this, I don't need any of that, right? When I'm fighting, I don't need any of this. Just push it off to the side and turn it into like you see this button right here. You see how you can collapse this, right? You should take all of this chat related stuff and just put it behind a little collapsible button, right? Just make me like, allow me to collapse everything, or I should do everything off to the side there, because I don't need any of that when I'm fighting. Likewise, I don't really need any of this when I'm fighting, right? Like any of this stuff down here, who needs any of this when you're fighting, right? You don't need any of that. So that's probably what they're referring to here, and I can see the logic there, even though like for me in practice I almost never click those things by accident. But it could also be the case that it's just I've trained myself to just not click in those spots, and if they were able to remove those buttons, then it would kind of open up just maybe 10% more of my screen, and that would be great. Same thing with like the bundles and like the events up here on the top. Like you don't need those to be present when you're fighting, right? So I could see the advantage of this, even if it doesn't really affect me. And also it could be the case that I just don't realize that I'm intentionally avoiding it as much as I am. Question 7, right now we can only remove governors from the alliance pass list one by one. Very tedious. It would be great if you could add a batch removal feature or a quick remove button to make it easier to manage the pass list. Thank you for your suggestion. We'll try to implement such a feature as soon as possible. Okay, that's fine. Question 8, it's too easy to get the lowest braving the odds rating in field battles. It makes me not want to fight field battles anymore. Answer, we're working on adjusting the categorization and presentation of battle ratings to address this issue. This is actually really big. I know a lot of people like the implementation of showing the percentage at like front and center on the top of the report and in the sidebar, like that actually has impacted the game in a super negative way that people don't even realize, because it's all player psychology, right? And it's because it's a double-edged sword, right? On one hand, it feels really cool to get those like 800% reports. You're like, oh my god, I'm popping off, I'm an absolute demon, I'm so cool, I'm so awesome, I'm so sick, right? But on the other hand, you know, once a player starts to get too many neutral or slightly negative reports, or really bad reports like braving the odds where you're getting that 34%, you know what I mean? Those reports in the psychology of the player, over time you get unhappy, right? With each consecutive report that you see braving the odds, you get a little bit less happy, you're having a little less fun, it's a little less enjoyable, you want to be online a little bit less every single time, and that erodes the fun of the game, and therefore it erodes your motivation to play. And so it actually kind of makes people not want to fight in these scenarios, when in reality this is when you need to fight the most, right? When you are outnumbered, when you are overwhelmed, like that is the last time that you need people going offline, right? Like if you are outnumbered like 1.5 to 1, okay, you can't be having players seeing braving the odds, and they're like, oh, I don't want to play anymore, I only want the good reports, right? If you're only playing for good reports, then you're not playing the game right, you know what I mean? Like there's going to be times where you're outnumbered, there's going to be times where there are challenging field fights where you're not going to get good reports pretty much no matter what, right? Unless you're like a Giga Kraken and you just completely are better than everybody on the field, which is almost none of us, right? Then you're always going to get some bad reports, right? And so what needs to happen is they do need to adjust this. I do think so, and I think that it's like kind of a long time coming. Like this has got to happen really quick, because there's been multiple instances in kvk where we realize like, wow, like we're getting bad trades, and it's a 1-to-1 correlation. people get bad trades for too long, they go offline. Like, it is exactly one-to-one, that even if they don't realize that's what's happening, right? Even if the excuse is I'm getting dinner, even if the excuse is whatever, had you been getting good trades, maybe you would have ate food while playing, right? You know what I mean? Like, it's a very subtle player psychology thing. And so it's almost like, I would almost honestly, rather than just take it out, just like take the whole categorization thing out, players who are super interested in their trades, they can do the math themselves, right? Like, it's I don't know if the benefits outweigh the downsides here, to be honest. Again, and I love it. I love, personally, when you get those 800% reports, you feel like a Giga Chad, right? And what's better than feeling like a Giga Chad? You know what I mean? But at the end of the day, like, it's just, if you really want to focus on the competitive nature of the game, then you are inevitably going to find yourself in more and more scenarios where you're not getting those 800% reports. And so truthfully, I really do think that they probably should just take this out. I know that maybe that's a little controversial, but like, it's probably just what's best for player psychology, because players can't control how they subconsciously feel. You know what I mean? Like, even if you know, like, oh yeah, I have to fight through those braving the odds reports, like, you might not, just because you don't feel like it. You know what I mean? Like, it is what it is. So I don't know, we'll see what their actual solution is here, but for me, I would say just remove it. Just go back to when players had to do it themselves, just so that it's just like, if you're playing to win, right? Like, if you want to win kvk and you want to help your alliance win kvk, then you honestly, this shouldn't even matter anyway, right? Like obviously the goal is always to get the best reports possible, right? And so that, I mean, that's why we micromanage our marches, right? But at the end of the day, the best thing for the overall war, the best thing for everybody, is that everyone takes some bad reports some of the time, right? Or most of the time, to be honest with you. So it's in the best interest of the performance of the kingdom, the camp, the whatever, to just not have this negative player psychology affect their fighting, right? And because humans have a built-in negativity bias, right? Like, I mean, I'm not going to go into a whole psychology lesson here, you can Google it, but we are just way more likely to focus on negative things than positive things. Even if, you know, let's say you get 50% of your reports are unstoppable and 50% of your reports are braving the odds, you're more likely to come to the conclusion that you're performing poorly, even though statistically it's 50-50, right? Because the way our brain is wired, we are wired to, you know, identify danger and bad things and avoid them, right? Like, that's how our brains have evolved over millions of years. So the negativity bias in our brain is always going to make this feel worse, even if it's actually not. So more often than not, this will hurt player psychology than help it, right? And so I think it's probably, let's just take it out. Let's just take it out. We don't need it. Question 9. I fight hard in field battles, spending lots of speed ups and resources to heal troops, but I can't get many kill points because of my poor skills or low level of development. So I don't get any recognition from the kingdom or community. Oh, this is so sad. I'd like for the devs to guide players to value the contributions of players like me. Answer 9. Imagine if the answer was just lol skill issue, lol get good, right? Like, we agree that we've previously somewhat neglected factoring things like severely wounded units into a player's contribution. We are now trying to design a new metric distinct from kill points, which would reflect the overall contribution of hard fighting governors to their kingdoms in kvk battle. We also plan to redesign a number of systems around this new metric, including kvk battle reports and profile data, as well as some rankings and kvk rewards such as crusader achievements. That's actually really, really cool, and this is a long time coming. Okay, first of all, kill points have always been a pretty, I wouldn't say they're a bad metric of a player's contributions, but it is kind of one-dimensional, right? You know, for example, if you want to run a march that is more supportive or is a bit more tanky rather than damage output, you kind of can't, right? Like, if you wanted to run like a Trajan fill-up, it's like, that's a whole march that could be getting kill points, that's not, and it's in favor of boosting your other marches. And then the question is it making them so much stronger that their kill points can make up for an entire other march? And the answer is almost never, right? There's almost never been a case in all of Rise of Kingdoms meta history where a support march is so supportive that it's better than just another damage march, right, in terms of performance. So, you know, it kind of waters down the possibilities of what you even can do as a player to contribute to your kingdom in a meaningful way. And I think that changing the metrics away from kill points is just better for the health of the game, right? Because again, that opens the door to support marches and to tank marches and other things and other, you know, ways that you can contribute in the open field besides just kill points. And then on top of that, if you watched my video where I go over the top 10 most powerful players and the top 10 highest kill points, points, right? You could check that out on the channel. It was posted I think a week or two ago. If you saw that video, then you'll know that like some players actually just literally kill feed themselves, right? Like they will just kill their own farm troops to get kill points even in kvk, right? And they do it in the millions and millions and millions of troops, which is like insane. Like they are literally just, they're feeding themselves kills to inflate their own kill points, which is stupid. Like it makes your account look cool, but it's completely, you're a waste, right? It's garbage. It's you're throwing troops and resources in the garbage just for an ego boost, which is like a kind of a joke, to be honest with you. So like the focus on kill points has gotten so like the game as a community has focused so much on kill points that players have lost the plot and their ego is getting in the way of what actually matters, which is like performing in real wars, right? And people will focus on kill points more than anything. And then on top of that, there's accounts that are online for 24/7, and I don't know how that's possible. You guys can figure that out. But like there's just so many things that, you know, with such a heavy emphasis on kill points, there's like all these ways that players like kind of skirt around the rules to make it so that way they get so many, oh my god, I got so many kill points, right? And it's like, I don't know, you just zeroed your farms again this for the third time this month. Like what are you doing? You know what I mean? But anyway, my point is a new metric that can measure player success and player contribution is long overdue. We obviously need this, and this would be fantastic if they can figure out a good way to do it. How can they do this? I have no idea. I have no answer here. Obviously I think kill points should be the thing that is most weighted, right? Like you should get, like if we're gonna do some sort of contribution points instead of kill points, like some sort of metric that's algorithm based, right? Kill points should still be like a big component of that factor, because like killing enemies is, I mean, it's a war game, right? Like what are we talking about? Like that should still be the goal, is to like kill your enemies, right? Obviously, like come on. Like, so I'm not saying we need to like get rid of kill points, obviously that's stupid, but you know, to have a more balanced approach of trying to figure out player contribution, I think that would be really, really good. Anyway guys, there is a button on the bottom of this survey and they want you guys to give them your feedback here, and so I highly recommend giving them your feedback. Click this link, tell them what you think about all of this, and I want you guys to be constructive. Do not curse, do not be passive aggressive, do not be obnoxious, do not be annoying, do not spam them, right? What you should do if you want them to take your feedback seriously is constructively figure out, are these things good? Are they bad? Are there ways that they can improve these above what they've already answered here? Let them know by clicking this button. Personally, I don't agree that the auto peacekeeping thing should be put behind a 30-day gem supply. That doesn't make any sense to me. Like locking gameplay features that are quality of life enhancements behind a $10 monthly bundle, it just doesn't make sense to me. And also, like, is that really going to move the needle in terms of more purchases, right? Like how many people that aren't buying the 30-day gem supply are going to buy it because of the peacekeeping, the auto peacekeeping, right? Like if you're buying 30 gem supply, you're already buying it, you know what I mean? Like this isn't really going to change. I don't think this would really move the needle for anybody, so I can't even see a world where this like dramatically improves their bottom line and they just get like way more purchases of the 30-day gem supply. It's like, if you're not already buying this and you don't already see the value in this, then like you already don't know what, you know, you already don't know what you're doing, right? And that's not to say that you need to buy this, right? Like if you're a free-to-play player, obviously you're not buying it. It is what it is. Like I'm not saying you need to buy this, but I'm saying like if you're a spender in the game, this is like the one thing you should always buy. Like no matter how little of a spender you are, you should always be buying this, right? So my point is like, you know, if I don't know, I don't see this increasing the sales of this at all. It just seems kind of like, it just seems like they're locking quality of life enhancements behind a bundle that people are already buying, and it just keeps other players out, which is kind of unfortunate. Now on the other hand, right, free-to-play players are probably the ones that would use auto peacekeeping the least, because they're going to be chaining, right? Chaining is going to still be the best way to kill barbs. So yeah, so like they're not even going to really need this as much. But auto help and auto chat translation, I mean, I guess auto chat translation is not really that big of a deal either, because you just click the button and it translates, so like whatever. But auto helps would be nice, right? What I'm really worried about is them increasing the price of the 30-day gem supply, or they add an additional premium version of the 30-day gem supply. This is something that lots of other games in this genre do, where for example the normal 30-day gem supply, like you see right here, will remain $10, and then there will be a second version, a premium version, that is either 15 or 20. We already see precedent for that because the 30-day research supply is 15 bucks, and in that 15 or $20 bundle they will give you more gems and they'll give you more features like the auto barbs, auto helps, all that other stuff, right? And come on bro, don't do that. Come on now, don't do that. Don't do it. Don't do it. Don't do it. No one likes that. Okay, it's whenever I see that in a game, it sets the precedent. Like if I start a brand new city builder game and I see that, it's just, it goes in the back of my head. I'm like, oh, they're more worried about money than anything else, right? Like that just kind of goes, that's what I see. That's a little like red flag that pops up. I'm like, oh, okay, let me just mentally note the fact that they're trying to, not only are they trying to get more players to spend money, they're trying to squeeze every penny out of even the spenders, right? Like it just feels gross. It feels weird. So all in all, like adding it to the 30-day gem supply is already like bad enough, but if they're gonna add like a second 30-day gem supply, like oof. Now they didn't say they were going to, right? But like I don't know, I've seen these games, I've played like 30 games in this genre, I know how these games work, and I don't want that. And I think I can confidently speak for everyone when I say literally nobody wants that. I don't know, you guys can let me know in the comment section below what you think about any of this stuff, but the main important thing is to let them know in the survey down at the bottom here. And guys, with that being said, if you made it to the end of the video, drop a thumbs up, really helps out the channel a ton, and we're so close to 90,000 subscribers, so go ahead and subscribe down below, comment down below your thoughts on this. And with that being said, guys, thank you so much for watching. This has been Omniarch. I will talk to you guys again soon. Peace.